Gather around, boys and girls. Make yourselves at home. Get comfortable. I hope you guys are having a good time today because today we're going to be talking about failure. I remember when last year me and my girlfriend we went to this museum known as the Museum of Failures, where basically it was just a place where you could just look up all the products and the events and all the relics of things that happened in a particular time that resulted in a failure, like the fire festival, for instance. The fire festival had a particular item in the exhibit where it was basically a styrofoam container with whole wheat bread, slices of cheese, and bits of lettuce, and that was it. It was like a meal that was provided to the young adults that went to the fire festival after they were promised having celebrity cameos and performances and living in luxurious like villas and tents and whatnot, only to be met with like a FEMA camp. Right now, we're going to be talking about next fire festival, but this time it's more so for children, and that one is the Willy Wonka Experience. So, for those that don't know, the Willy Wonka Experience was an event that took place in Glaslow. Basically, what happened there was that there was this event that was coming up, and parents saw this event, this ad that depicted that of like a Willy Wonka, chocolate factory. It's supposed to take place in a warehouse. It was supposed to mimic that of a Willy Wonka factory. So you can see in the ads, you can see the picture. You can see on one side it was supposed to be all gummy bears and gumdrops and lollipops. And then on the other end is the reality of it all. A lot of people are actually looking at this as the fire festival, but for children instead. And this is where I was looking at this and I was like, oh, that's unfortunate. Okay, that sucks. Parents got their refund. They were pretty disappointed. Kids were disappointed. Yada, yada, yada. Let's move on. But as I go about my day or the next day after and the following day after, I realized that this whole situation is a lot deeper than what I thought. So I couldn't help but look into this and, do you the favor of kind of summarizing the whole situation as to what's going on. And I'm glad to have you all with me to venture this journey. So let's get right into it. So as I mentioned before, this event, costed $35 per ticket to participate in this event. You had parents that was looking at this event like on Facebook. There was a website. That, by the way, the event was hosted by the House of Illuminati. The House of Illuminati was hosting this event. Parents bought tickets, $35 each, and they went to this event only to be met with disappointment. There was only like a few props here and there, like little like gimmicks. Like you saw the entrance. It was like just like a styrofoam like rainbow entrance, and then that's it. Like it's really just a warehouse. Just a little bit of like, little decor here and there. It was very spotty, but it was still very barren, and it left a lot of parents, disappointed and a bit upset because the tickets, according to them, was pretty expensive. From what I've heard, one parent traveled like 100 miles with their kids just to attend this event, only for this event to just, flop the way that it did. So when I was first reading into this, I read that apparently there was something happened with the partners or the vendors. They were going to, pull through, but then they pulled out last minute, and the person behind the event said, you know what, let's just keep it going. Let's just keep it going. It's kind of too late now. This is our hand. Let's play our best hand and see what we got. And it wasn't their best hand. Their best hand was not so good, or at least it wasn't enough. So this person just had to give all of their money back to the parents that spent money to, participate in this event. And you're probably wondering to yourself, who is this person? Who is the person behind this event that would make something like this? Who's the person behind House of Illuminati? And that person goes by the name of Billy Cole. Billy Cole is the man behind the event, behind the House of Illuminati. I've been reading a lot of things about him. Apparently, there was like a Reddit post where they kind of read him to filth. Someone did a little bit of research behind him. It turns out he's this guy that's kind of obsessed with the whole AI thing. He's also like an anti-vaxxer. He's pretty big on like conspiracies and whatnot. He also has like a few books that's been published, and he has it on Amazon to sell, but his books are Chat GPT authored, meaning he had Chat GPT write the entire book for him, or at least most of it, and he just packaged it up and then just shipped it out to Amazon to say, hey, here's my book, this is it. So it's pretty crazy what I'm seeing about this dude. He had a LinkedIn, but his LinkedIn, he kind of just deleted his account, I guess because from all the backlash that he's been going through right now. And it seems as if he graduated from like a university known as the University of Sedona. I think it's in Arizona, somewhere in Arizona, Sedona, Arizona, something like that. And he studied metaphysics. So I looked up the University of Sedona, and yeah, they're pretty big on like metaphysics. And according to the Reddit post, he seems to be, has like this degree when it comes to like psychology, like the doctorate of psychology. And University of Sedona is known to be a college or a university that kind of hands out degrees like in metaphysics subject. I didn't even know what metaphysics is, so I had to look that up. Metaphysics is basically like a study that uses like according to Google, or if I could read here, is a type of philosophy or study that uses broad concepts to help define reality and our understanding of it. Metaphysical studies generally seek to explain inherent or universal elements of reality which are not easily discovered or experienced in our everyday life. So this guy, he's had a long rap sheet of doing some pretty weird things for the most part, just from being really obsessed with AI, for instance. Many people have said that he's kind of like a serial scammer of some sort. This isn't the first time he's done events like this. But as far as like AI, you can really tell because when you go to the House of Illuminati, all of the stuff that's on there is AI generated. It's crazy. There's nothing in there. There's probably a few things in there that you could tell, like, all right, these are real photos. But a lot of the stuff that's on there is just AI generated. That's really just it. It's so cringe. And it's basically like, I guess it's like a business of his where it's like, oh, we kind of take, like the extraordinary and we blend it with the ordinary life, and we kind of blend these two together to create an extraordinary experience for our participants, things like that. And it's kind of cringe that he kind of uses AI to depict that. He also used an AI image to advertise the whole Willy Wonka experience, and I think that's where, I wouldn't say that's where he fucked up, but whenever someone takes an AI image and they use it as some form of like advertisement, I always find that to be very cringe and very dumb, especially because in an instance like Willy Wonka, you're gonna have parents that are looking into this and they're gonna want to bring their kids with them into this experience because kids love Willy Wonka. We all love candy. We all love Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. We're familiar with the stories. So parents are gonna want to subscribe to something like this and they want to buy tickets to get to this event. And mind you, I think I did a video on this just not too long ago about AI. You're going to have a demographic of people that generally cannot tell what's real and what's fake. So that whole AI generated image of like what they believe was Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, or what they would expect, they're looking at that image and saying, oh my god, I can't wait to see something like this. This looks too good to be true. $35 is a little bit expensive, but I would love to see it. So this is one of those things where it's like, you're going to look at this and you're going to say that's a scam. Because there's no way someone can look at this and think this is the real thing. But unfortunately, the truth of the matter is you're going to have that demographic. And yes, parents are a part of that demographic that are just going to look at that and they're going to be fooled by it. So it's very easy to say that is a scam of itself. Now, again, as I mentioned before, they said that everything fell apart because they had a lot of partners and vendors or whoever that just didn't pull through. They kind of pulled out last minute, so they had to deal with what they had, hence why the warehouse looked the way that it looked then, right after, the event, started. but still you kind of overpromise, and that's why I really don't like when people use AI content or AI images as some form of advertisement, because you're kind of selling a dream rather than a realistic expectation of something. Like, you could have just set up the whole venue and then you could have just advertised that, like take some photos. I don't know why you had to make an AI generated image only for your event to fail the way that it did. Because now anything that's associated with AI, people look at that with a side eye. People think it's kind of a scam. I just feel that he should have advertised that, hey, listen, this image here is an AI image. This isn't real. This is just some sort of like a description, just giving you an idea of what this event would be. I don't think he did that, because the website, I think there was a website for the Willy Wonka experience. It wasn't just the website that was advertising. There was advertisements on Facebook. So you had a lot of parents on Facebook that saw this and then they just bought tickets because it just looked really good, when in fact it was just an AI generated image and the people behind this event wasn't able to meet that expectation. That's basically just it. What became a gateway into this deep research was when I came across Ask Me Anything post from a guy who was supposed to play as Willy Wonka in that same event. Paul Connell was supposed to be the guy behind the whole thing, and he actually had to ask me anything. I'm just gonna read a few things, a few questions and answers. I'm just gonna like cross off the names so you guys, just for protection and everything. The first question that I do want to talk about is basically someone asked, do you think it was a scam or a well-intentioned failure? Was the organizer out of his depth or trying to intentionally rob people of his entry fee? And Paul Connell, answered, it was a failure. I'm not sure of their intentions. I think they thought it would be good, but I also think even they knew the tickets were really overpriced. And I think that's why I've heard from the parents too. They thought the tickets were a little bit too much, but for an experience like Willy Wonka and seeing what was advertised, I guess they said, I guess it's worth it considering, because this looks really good. I mean, you might have to pay a pretty penny to experience this kind of thing, so we're willing to do it, and especially for our kids, because that's what every parent would want. Any parent would want to have their kids have fun and get to, live their childhood, especially in a Willy Wonka chocolate factory. So I can definitely see that. But yeah, $35 for each ticket is pretty crazy. The next questions were actually pretty interesting. The next one was, what was the organizer himself like? That's basically Billy. Given how absurdly committed to AI he was, I have a certain image of him already. I'm curious whether I'm off the mark. And Paul Connell responds, he is an interesting fella. He was basically someone who I think was completely out of his depth. Also, check out his Amazon books if you want to have a good laugh. So I mentioned before, he has books that he published that were authored by ChatGPT, which is pretty crazy. There are people that actually bought these books, which makes it even crazier. I don't understand. It's just very cringe to me when people see AI as like this cheat code for like quick money scheme. So they think like they could just take ChatGPT and tell it, hey, write me a book about this particular situation and this particular theme and this particular setting, and they could just have ChatGPT, type all the chapters, all the pages, copy, paste, put it in a book, and then just ship it off to Amazon and make your money. It's pretty wild stuff, and I just hate that so much. I really do. And looking at this guy and seeing his website and this whole Amazon shtick, it looks like he's really committed to AI. It's absolutely insane how committed he is to it, and to the point that he actually used another AI image to advertise his event on his website and Facebook. Now, I'm only glossing between all these topics because there's just so much that is going on, and it's still kind of developing. Paul Connell said he was supposed to have an interview, and speaking of the interview, he said that he's going to have an interview alongside, I believe, with the Meth Oompa Loompa. So you guys probably saw this woman. She's behind like a counter with a lot of like, containers and tubes and, funnels and whatnot. She's known as the Meth Oompa Loompa. You can clearly see why they would give her that name. That was actually a real thing. That was not fake. She was actually in that event. And I think in one of the questions, they were like, oh, what about the Meth Oompa Loompa girl? How is she? Like, that's crazy. Like, her reaction is literally like a depiction of like how we all feel about 2024 right now, or at least the past recent years, because it's been crazy. But she hasn't taken any offense to it. She's pretty, she's having a laugh about it, as a matter of fact. She's not taking any offense to it. She's getting a laugh out of it. So it's pretty good that she has that kind of sense of humor and everything. I don't think people did that with ill intent or called her that with ill intent. There is this thing that they made up in the Willy Wonka experience. I'm just going to let you know this has nothing to do with the Willy Wonka lore. None of that at all. Basically, there is this person, this thing, I don't know, known as the Unknown. The Unknown is supposed to be a person that's supposed to wear a mask and have like this messy little hair thing going on and wear like this black gown. I don't know the lore behind it, but apparently from what I've been told or what I've researched, the Unknown is supposed to be like the evil chocolate maker that lives within the walls and is trying to, I don't know, something along the lines of like it's trying to steal Willy Wonka chocolate or something like that for the anti-graffiti. I don't know. It's so random. It is absolutely random. I don't know what the Unknown has to do with Willy Wonka, but apparently when Paul Connell was, playing as Willy Wonka, he was telling the kids, hey, just letting you know, there is evil among us, and this evil doesn't have a name. So this entity goes by the Unknown, and the Unknown lurks between the walls, and he's an evil chocolate maker. Like, it's so random. If I was there, I would be like, I would have to go to my phone and look it up. Like, who is the Unknown? Did I miss a scene in the Willy Wonka books or like the movies that I just missed them or something? Like, it really had me scratching my head. But it's just so hilarious how they have him pictured. It's so crazy. Like, he stands behind a mirror. I don't know what the mirror has to do with anything. But apparently some kids were terrified. Some kids were actually kind of scared of him because, yeah, the Unknown is kind of like, it sticks out like a sore thumb. You expect the place to be so colorful and dandy and everything. No pun intended. I know it rhymes with candy. See what I did there? And all you see is this black figure with like a mask on and a mirror. I don't understand. I don't know what was the purpose. I don't know why Bill would even think of just adding this character into the Willy Wonka experience. I don't know what that was going to achieve. But here we are. Here we are with this experience. It's been so wild, and I'm sorry if I've been bouncing back and forth between different parts of this experience, because it's been really crazy, and I've been looking up this whole thing, and I'm just starting to learn all this. I didn't think it was so deep up until I saw the Ask Me Anything. That led me to, the creator behind the House of Illuminati and the event, and then the Unknown and the Meth Oompa Loompa. It's just crazy all around. I think a lot of people just see AI as like this thing that can just do a lot of heavy lifting, when in fact it's just low effort and it's just terrible all around. And this is one of the examples. And it's a failure. It's an example of failure. And I just really hope that people could just take notes on that. Like, again, I don't mind if AI is a tool to be used for like, like get your creative juices flowing. Like, hey, I kind of like that idea. Let's try to make that. But that wasn't the thing at all. I think we're relying on AI a bit too much here. But anyways, that's really all I have for y'all. And that's about it. Take care, y'all. Peace.